Okay, so recently we bought at the church a keyboard, and the new trend now is to put a keyboard inside of an old piano or something like that. Well, I thought it would be simpler just to make the piano from scratch, so I'm going to start that today. So stand by. Here we go. So I always like to start out by, building it on paper first. This is kind of my first draft, and then I actually had to take a bunch of measurements. All this chicken scratch here is precise measurements of everything on the keyboard and speakers and the MacBook that'll be on top and the pedal that's below. So I took detailed measurements of everything so that as I'm building, I'll know how to do that. Here, right? I'm going to line it up here, top that line. So that's going to be the bottom. So you see the idea here? I'm going, okay, I want it to be about 6 inches. So I need to put this back up here like so. Bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just a back is done. So this is of course laying down on its back. I put the skirt on the bottom here, skirt on the top, and then I had to fill in these gaps with this same 1/2 inch plywood. Okay, this is the back leg. I'm just going to put 4 screws into this to kind of hold it up against there and make sure it's square on the top. So that looks good. This is going to be the shelf where the actual keyboard sits. And I'm going to screw it down good. Okay, so I just took this dowel rod, and I want to make the dowel rod be the little spindle on the front here. But I'm a little worried about this splitting, so I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill. Done this with I took my square and I created a little mark to tell me where the middle of a 2x4 is. So I'm going to take that mark and I'm going to mark the middle of this 2x4 right there. And then let's just go down. Let's go down by the same amount and make that. Here we go. See if I can find the middle of this guy. Okay. Pretty close, huh? All the way through there and into here along. Oh, I'm not a lefty. Okay. All right. Huh, I can live with that. So then I'm just going to do the same thing here on the bottom, but first I have to take I had to partially take the wheel off to get to the place I was putting it in. Just went, the same distance across. I believe it was 1 3/4 inches. And then, drilling the hole, just kind of, really just kind of eyeballing, well, not that part, that's measured, but eyeballing the actual dowel rod and drilling it in, and it worked out pretty good. So I built the frame on the top here and made it so I could put a shelf right here, and then left enough room on the bottom to slide the keyboard under. Okay, here it is after I've put the shelves in. See, the speakers will fit in these holes right here. This is kind of a skip forward. I've added these little extras here on the side to make it look like a piano, but I had to put a little piece of wood, a little 3-inch to whatever that is, 3-inch piece of wood by 1/2 inch right here, just to keep the gap from gapping. And so now it's sturdy, holds good, it closed up that gap pretty good. And then of course you can tell I've put 1 coat of paint, just a start coat on the paint. And here it is with the hinges now are completely on, and all this will get painted black. So I was looking at these spindles and thought they kind of look a little plain, but then I had this idea of a way I could use this piece of this 4x4 to dress it up a little bit. Okay, so I cut this, put the round over bit on it, and then I cut this smaller piece to be the same size as this square right here. And then I did the round over bit, same round over bit on both of them. And the idea is that it's going to sit right here on the top. I'm going to glue this together. And then, once it's all glued together, I'm going to drill a hole in the middle the size of that dowel rod. In a perfect world, I would have put this thing on first, but this was an afterthought. So what I'm probably going to have to do, unless I want to take the dowel rod completely back off, is probably have to cut this thing down the center, then sandwich them together and putty it and paint it and make it look nice. So I was about to make the center mark for this center hole that's going to punch in here, and then I realized this would be something neat to show you. I found this center finding ruler here. So you got the center here, and then it goes 1 2 3 4 5 this way, and then 1 2 3 4 5 this way. The idea is that you get the same measurement on either side, and then it'll show you right where the center is. So then, yeah, see, you can get the right measurement on either side, and then you turn it this way, do the same thing, and then with those 2 marks, you can actually find out right where you need to drill your hole. And then I drilled a hole in it like this, and then cut it in half. Then you just sandwich them together around the dowel rod, and then after that, I put glue on it, glued it up good, and just put a bunch of clamps on it. Okay, now I'm moving over to the music stand. This is actually what I'm calling the kick stand, and it fits in the box like this. And essentially, it's just going to be what holds the music stand in place. So I put these slats on the back of the music stand so that the kickstand would have something to grab onto and hold the stand in position. Here I am putting American walnut stain on it, and I'm doing it in a circular motion because it gets better in the grooves. Once you get it all covered good, you wipe with the grain. So finally, we're getting ready to paint. So I taped up the back because I want that to stay all white, but this is going to be black. All this is going to be black all along here. Okay, so this is painting. I started the painting a little bit the other day, just kind of sitting on a base coat. But today I'm finishing it up. I decided to go with a semi-gloss on the tops and stuff, and I'm really glad I did. It looks pretty, it looks really nice. I'm gonna try a little technique I saw somebody do using just some paper bag material. This is actually like a paint cover. It's like a covering. What am I looking for? It's like whatever this is called. But you use it like a sandpaper. It's like a really high count sandpaper, like a 3,000 or something like that. So I'm just gonna give it a little try because I'm feeling a little bit of a grit. I'm feeling a little bit of a grit in the sand or in the finish, and I'm going to try this and see if this, see if I like this. Let's see what happens. Kind of keep it flat because I don't want to. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Holy cow. That really works. You may wonder why this is on here. Basically, it was because I wanted these hinges to be in something really strong. And so this is just 3/4 inch plywood. And I felt like, because when you open it, it's hot little painted stuff, it's going to hang on its hinges. And I was concerned that just that 3/4 inch plywood wouldn't be enough to hold the strength for this, hold this hinge in here. So I added this piece on the top, and I thought it kind of looked decorative, but it's really there for a practical purpose so I could have more, so I had more wood to screw up into. I glued it down, and I think it worked really good. So this is called a tack cloth. It's kind of a sticky, I don't know what's on it, wax or something. It's just a cloth, like a cheesecloth with some sticky kind of something on it. It's called tack cloth, and you use it to wipe down your piece to get any residue. Like, see, it gets, takes off. That's where I just sanded it, and now it's going to take off. Before I paint it again, I want to get all the residue off of it with this tack cloth. It's a lot smoother than it was before. Hard to show a clean hand when I don't have any clean hands. Back over at the music stand, just running the tack cloth across there and then putting the polyurethane. You notice I'm not shaking this. You're not supposed to shake polyurethane because it causes bubbles, which then translates into your finish. So I just kind of turned it over and over a little bit, kind of gently stirring it and then applying this polyurethane. I'm going to put about 3 coats of it on there by the time we're done here. The music you've been listening to is by the Becky Band, and she has some real good music. This is a song called American Corner. I know she'd appreciate it if you go over there and take a listen to some of her music. So once I get this 3rd coat of polyurethane finished here, you might say it's all over but the drying. Okay, after a hard day's work in the shop, getting it all done, building pianos, the next step is a plunge in the pool. Okay, so today I've got this thing almost done, and what I want to do is I want to put a light, and I want it to shine on the music stand. So what I'm going to do is I bought this kit for about $17. It's just a little light. It's all in pieces. I'm going to drill a hole right here. We'll drill a hole right there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how big around this is, so I know what kind of drill bit I need to get. It's a 1/2 inch, about a 1/2 inch bit. Okay, after a little bit of finagling, finally got it fit. Look at that. Okay, so I've got this thing through here, but it, as you can see, I don't want it to fall out, so I'm going to try to put a screw in it. I found this small screw, and just all my, you probably got stuff like this in your toolboxes. It looks like a good size, and I'm going to put it through there like that. It's a way to hold it. But what I got to do first is I got to very gently drill a hole and be sure not to cut my wire. So I'm going to very gently try to drill a hole up through here like so. Of course, in order to get this through the hole, I had to cut this wire, and so now I'm going to have to put the wire back together, so I had just stripped off the ends. Pretty simple. I mean, the pink goes to pink, the white goes to white. It was, it's pretty self-explanatory. Now, I'm sure there's some electrician out there that's probably cringing right now because I'm not an electrician. So I just put these small wire nuts on each one. I got each wire nut on each individual set of wires. I was going to put some tape on it, but first, before I do that, I'm going to check it and make sure that it still works. Now I'm going to tape it up after the light works. I tape each individual little wire nut and then tape it as a whole, make a big old wad like that. It might not be pretty, but it works. Put a little putty on this just to kind of fill in this hole, make it not quite so rough. Something tells me if I had this thing out here for the next year, I'd keep tinkering with it. By the time it left here, it'd be like a rocket ship. All the tricking out that I would do to it, just because I'm a piddler. I get that from my daddy. My daddy was a piddler. We gave him the nickname Papa Piddler, because he just never stopped piddling with stuff. Go camping, and the whole time we camped, he'd be fixing things up right up to the day we struck the camp and went home. He was still fixing things up. I thought, is he ever going to stop and sit down and just enjoy the fruits of his labor? But that wasn't his way. I bet you got somebody like that in your family too. True to form, I couldn't stop tinkering, so I had some LED lights I decided to stick up inside here so it'll kind of glow behind the speakers and everything. Just a little something extra. This piece is 9.5 feet long, which is too long, so I cut it. But before I do that, I better turn off the power. Don't want to electrocute myself. There's a little marking on the piece that has a pair of scissors, tells you where to cut it. So I cut it, and all things seem to go good. And then turned the power back on. Got a little scared because it didn't come on for a second, but then it came on. So then I stuck it up in there and it fit perfectly. Okay, here we go. So this is pretty much all tricked out with everything on it. So so here you've got, you can see you got your lights that kind of glow through the back. They're up inside. They'll glow through. Of course, you can check. You got your buttons here where you can change the colors. It's just something fun. And then on the other side here, I've put this little button here where you can turn on the lights. Let's see if I can remember how to do it. There you go. Turn that light right there. It turns on your stand light for your stand. Okay, and so now your stand has a little kickstand on it. It's like a little bar right here as you pick it up. Drop it into place, and now you can sit and read your music. If you need to get up under the hood to look at something under the hood, you pop it up into that second position right there. See, it pops into there. And now you can get back here and you can plug in your computer or plug in your power, whatever you need to do here. Work behind the keyboard. When you're done, and of course you got lights in here that light up things so you can see. When you're done, you pop this thing back down, and you're ready to play. So anyway, there you go. Voila!